this good feeling, which fundamentally Star Wars should deliver a good feeling, an uplifting feeling in you and your family, your kids, whatever.
Star Wars Reporter Podcast.
Welcome to episode 110 of the Star Wars Reporter podcast. We are the scoundrels for tonight. Everyone else crapped out, so screw those guys.
I know.
So we'll call ourselves the cool A team tonight.
Hooray!
And we'll be doing a catch up of Ahsoka episodes 5 and 6.
Best ones yet.
To talk about. Amazing.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to talk to someone about it. So
I know. I'm so happy it's me.
And there's so many people I know that haven't seen it yet. So I can't say a word because they're always like, shut up.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. I haven't seen it yet. I'm like, it's been, first of all, a week for episode 5. And now how many days? It's been like, a day.
A day for episode 6.
But I'm like, come on.
We'll limit the spoilers on episode 6. We'll talk in code for episode 6.
You know what? I say screw those guys.
We'll give spoiler warnings before we talk. Like, pause now if you've not seen episode 6. How about that?
Yes. Or we could say punch yourself in the face if you I'm talking about my friends. Those guys don't deserve anything.
All right.
Anything nice.
All right. So episode 5. Do you remember how jazzed I was for the Obi-Wan series? Do you remember that was like years of running where every time somebody was like the Obi-Wan series, and I was like, please stop talking. Please stop talking about it. Like I couldn't handle it because I got so excited about the Obi-Wan series and then it got delayed. And then I get so excited about the Obi-Wan series and it got delayed. And this was like years of my life. Like I probably lost years of my life stressing about the Obi-Wan series.
Who hasn't?
Right? And then it finally happened. Remember, I was like, don't even talk to me until it happens. Like, don't even talk to me until the day it premieres, because like until I see the first episode, I'm not even gonna believe that it's a real show. And then it happened. And I was like, this is it. This is everything my heart wanted. Like, I was like, this is it. I'm complete. This is like all my little prequel loving heart wanted, like for my whole life. This is it. And then we got episode 5. And I was like, this is actually what my heart wanted.
Yes. It's very weird. This is the Anakin Obi-Wan we needed.
Yes. Yeah, for
Obi-Wan.
sure. Like this is the Hayden Christensen got to come back and like have those moments and like,
yes,
it was so great.
It was. We were talking a little bit about it before we went live, and I thought to myself, well, I'll save it for the episode, but I just couldn't help myself because I brought up the fact that I had sent you an email after the episode aired and said, I think I have a man crush on Anakin.
Yeah. Understandably so.
Shocked. It was just amazing. I'm not saying that I didn't think that Hayden Christensen and Anakin weren't cool before, but I mean, this episode, there isn't anything else I could think of except the scenes with him and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I'm looking through the pictures that I got ready for it, and I think other stuff happened in the show.
Yeah, I'm sure there were other things that happened in the episode. No, I just seeing him in the Clone Wars episode, or the Clone Wars season 1 garb, you know, the short hair with like the panel thing. Yeah, that one, that right there. Oh my gosh, that moment seeing live action like Clone Wars season 1 Anakin, like, and then Rex. Oh, and then just the clones. Like, remember the clones were like they were digitally done. Like we've never seen live action clones, right? I don't think. I'm trying to think. Maybe they've been, but like to this scale, like clones running around, like Clone Wars clones in armor, like running past. Like that's amazing. Like people don't understand like how excited you should be about what just happened. Like,
yes,
and a Rex was there.
Rex. I know. I had the picture here, and it's Yeah, I lost the picture. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. But anyway, but yes, that seeing that Anakin, that live action kind of thing, that is so. I was not expecting that at all. Like when they first, like when she drops down, she's a child, and I was like, oh, like little Ahsoka. Oh, that's cute. And then they show him. I was like, oh no! Like I teared up. I was.
He looked very, very cool.
He did.
I was really impressed with how he looked. He looked more intimidating. He looked more, and
Mature.
maybe Hayden is more comfortable. We were talking about this
Yeah.
before. He looked more comfortable with himself. When he was kind of coming out of the dust with all the clones, and you could see his lightsaber, and he just looked confident. He looked like
Yeah.
if we got to see more of that in the prequels, where it just like I could see him at the front of clones leading him into battle, even though they shouldn't have been doing that. But that's another story that you could
Other.
tell. But
Yeah.
um, I was just like, it was exciting me, and I'm an old guy, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
like OT and prequel, But man,
Well,
I,
did you notice there was a couple little things too that the first time when they're fighting on that like sky bridge thing or whatever, he does the backspin move. That's like one of his like the fight with him and Obi-Wan in
yes,
episode 3, that's like one of the big. Yeah, he does like that backspin move and I was like, "There it is. That's it." Like I'm, nerding out over like he
I have to
remembers the
tell you,
choreography. I don't know. Like I was like
I had said that.
but
I wrote it in my notes that I left somewhere, but it's like he never missed a day. It's like he got up every day,
yeah.
practiced what he learned with his lightsaber, and then went about his day
I
because
mean,
it felt
wouldn't
like
you? Like if you
yes,
if I had
I would.
learned that, I would do it every day as well. Like I would just never let that go. Be
It's like
like,
he never missed
"Hey
a day.
kids,
All the
wanna
moves.
watch this? Like, wanna see what I can do? Like entertain the neighborhood children?" I don't know. I would just never
Oh my
stop.
my god, my wife would still not be impressed with anything, but it was, looking at it at that whole episode of what he did, and everyone else, and that he was, it just seemed like a different standard of lightsaber work. Like Hayden Christensen has got it. He's got it, and he never missed a day. Like it was weird, even like that movie said where he spun it from behind his back and everything. And again, very confident with his lightsaber work, where not all the actors are seem to, in my opinion, have it as strong as him. I mean,
Mhm.
I I think he went through, him and Ewan McGregor and stuff. They went through a lot more training, I think,
Oh,
than
definitely.
than this group. But damn, like
Yeah.
he was like, ooh, gave
Yeah, it
me
was
gave me the
really good.
shivers.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so cool to see. Um yeah, I thought he was fantastic. And then even the speeches, even the way he
Mm,
delivers it, everything that he's like trying to like um drill into her. And
yes.
then the way that their fight ends and all of that. I mean, it was very perfect. It was very much I think on brand with their personalities, with their stories, with it was very much in the spirit of their characters. Like just I thought all of it was just perfect.
Well, when he comes out of he kind of at the end of their fight, when he comes out of the smoke
Yeah.
and
Oh, and
he's
yeah, when the flashes, like
yes,
when it's like flashing and you hear the breathing and the oh, it was so well done.
but I mean, he was just like, just went crazy. And there was, I don't have the picture here, but at one point you could see in her face where she's afraid, like her
Uh-huh.
eyes are wide and she's struggling because he's so strong. And
Yeah.
then she gets the saber from him, and that was a big discussion. It's like,
Yeah.
um you see his eyes have changed, and people had thought her eyes were just reflecting the glow of his lightsaber. But if you look closer, she did have red eyes.
Really?
And then she turns off the lightsaber, and it was all a test. Someone had pointed this out that I was watching talk about this. It's like, if you've ever trained someone, say in martial arts, which this is like martial arts or fencing, and you're a teacher, because some people were like, wow, Ahsoka beat him. And there was the argument. It's like, I don't think she beat him. I think that he was teaching her a lesson. If this was Anakin, Was it in her head or was it Anakin? Right.
Well, this
But
is a fight in her mind, right? It had to have been a fight in her mind. Like she's unconscious. This is her higher self, having this battle out, and it's her master that's guiding her through it, I think, subconsciously, but
yes.
I don't necessarily think that it is Anakin. I think he's just the instrument that her brain is using to teach her this lesson. I think she's still fighting herself, but I think that
Oh,
he is
definitely.
just representing that. And but I think it's very much like the Luke in the cave in Return of the Jedi, right? Where he goes in and
Mm,
he has to fight his father, but it's actually
mhm.
him, kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing. She has to go
Right.
in, she has to fight her master, but it's actually she's fighting herself, kind of thing.
True. I felt it was kind of like her out of body experience. Like she was dying,
Yeah. Oh,
and
definitely.
the test was you live, and then she was like the young Ahsoka, that actress. Holy man, was
Yeah.
she ever awesome? Clearly, this scene really got me here, where she sat
The
with the clone,
clones.
and he grabs her hand, and she's trying not to cry, and all I can think of is holy PTSD. This child who's a Jedi, I get, or she's a Padawan, she's got all this power, but she's still a child. And she even says, she didn't sign up for this, right? She thought
Yep.
they'd be peacekeepers, and he's giving her. I thought he was excellent, saying, you know, you have to adapt to what's happening. Now we're fighting a war.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. Like he used to be doing the peacekeeper thing, but that's not the way it is anymore. And it's very sad. And she's like, it's amazing what children in the Jedi go through, even
Yeah.
not in war times. It must be not as great as I mean, I would love to, but man, it's not fun. So it was really good. And I think she was giving up. Her life was giving up, and she was getting the kind of like the three ghosts, except there was one
Yeah.
ghost. It was Anakin.
Yeah. But it was like young Anakin and old Anakin and evil Anakin. So it's like all
And they
the
were all
ghosts of
equally hot.
Christmas. Yeah. Past and present, future. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. There was so much there. It was so sad. Seeing what she went through as a kid. And this isn't even with the accusations and all that she went through with the Jedi when she was older, right? It's like you never think of it when you watch the animation. It's like
Mhm.
it's all normal. She's out there fighting robots or killing this or doing that, and troopers or the clones are dying around her. Eh,
But yeah, it's her orders that are getting them killed, and she has to live
yes.
with that weight of that. And that's as a child, like that's pretty heavy. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons, like I'm constantly always talking about how much I love Clone Wars, but that's one of the reasons I do like Clone Wars is it doesn't pull its punches. Like there is
Yes.
a lot of death, there is a lot of consequences for actions, consequences for choices,
Mhm.
and that it for a children's show, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of moments that happen that have weight behind them. Where it's like, well, you made this call, and this is what happens. This is the fallout. This is the consequence. This person died, or these people died, or this ship was destroyed because of something that happened. Like it's
Right.
they don't pull those punches. It's not like a Saturday morning cartoon at the end of it where like everybody goes home. Like that doesn't happen. Like
It's
it
very true.
there's one episode where like Maul and his brother like slaughter an entire village, like women and children, like slaughter all of them to get Obi-Wan's attention. Like cuz like Savage or something like says something to Maul like, "Why are we doing this?" And he is like, "Because I need his attention." Like
Wow.
that's literally like because that's how brutal they were, and that's how like they needed Obi-Wan's attention, and he was across the galaxy. Like that's brutal, but that happens in Clone Wars, that's
Well, it's kind of like the old saying, "War is hell."
yeah.
So that's really deep for a cart. Everyone says it's a cartoon,
Yeah.
and I've always said it's the animation that's really kept Lucasfilm or Star Wars going in between movies. Like for those decades or whatever. Along with I guess books and comics and all that. But um, the animation is always. I mean, the animation gave more of a story, a rounded story to say Anakin and Obi-Wan's story, especially Anakin's story,
Yeah.
where you didn't get that in the prequels. Like not because I mean you're in a hurry,
Yeah.
so were
Well,
a series.
yeah, that's one of the things I've talked about is like it's so frustrating with George Lucas is like the moments that he picked of Anakin's life to put in the movie. It's like, but why, George? Like, why did you pick these moments? Like, there's, like, I get it. Like, I get the story that he's trying to tell, but it's so frustrating sometimes when you have all of this richness and all of this color in the
Yeah,
Clone Wars, and like he chooses these moments to put on film of Anakin that are not those moments, and it's so frustrating sometimes when you have all of that background and all of that knowledge of like, okay, he had these moments with these clones and his brothers and this agony and these kind of things, and yet we see him like complaining about sand.
sand.
Like
It's my favorite.
why?
The worst part for me is that one really short scene where she's all in the black dress and he's
Oh,
talking
after
about his,
dinner?
yes, his
Yeah.
love and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, we can't,"
If
and
we follow
everything.
our thoughts to conclusion, her like senator speech that she gives them.
I was like, "This is like 5 or more minutes. I'll never get like that could have been
Yeah.
used for something that you were saying to show him to show the turmoil in his head,
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
of that. It's like him disagreeing with the Jedi,
Yeah.
him being swayed by Palpatine for sure. And even making it so that because sometimes it appeared that Anakin was just, he was complaining, but the Jedi were not doing right things. Like they just kind of lost their way. They got more political,
Yep.
and I think they should have showed more of that so that you would go, oh, well, maybe Anakin's right. He shouldn't have killed all those kids, but he was right.
Yeah. Well, but it starts with, I mean, here's the thing. This is how it starts, right? It starts with the sand people, right? That starts with
Mm,
like the first time
mm,
that happens, and then you have people that like cover it up for him, right? You have people that were kind of like Padme knew what happened, like
yeah,
Yoda kind of knew what happened, like Obi-Wan probably knew what happened. Like you have people that knew what happened, but they covered it up, or they just pushed it aside because like oh, Anakin is struggling, or oh, he lost his mom, like oh, and these are the kind of things.
yeah,
And so, when you have a child who's struggling and complaining, but you're really busy, like your life is so much more important. You have these really big things you're dealing with.
yeah,
That's how you make a monster. That's how you make somebody who goes on and does these kind of things, is because you, as the adult, you as the grown up, are so preoccupied, with these big things, that you ignore the child when they're in times of crisis and turmoil, and you ignore when they do something that's bad, and you don't address it, and you put it under the rug, and that's how you get an Anakin. That's a
yeah. Yeah, I think that, oh, man, we've been through this so many times. We
yeah.
talked about it, and I feel so bad for Anakin, and I know why. Anakin, Qui-Gon, Ahsoka, Dooku all have the exact same problem, sort of, with parts of the Jedi, and I know not all of them dealt with it the right way, but I, I I look at that and it's like everyone was so involved in the politics and the war and what they needed to do that they weren't paying attention. Like they kind of went, "Oh well, it was just a bunch of sand people, I guess. Maybe he won't do it again." And I was watching, what was it? Which episode? And I thought Obi-Wan should have taken Anakin with him instead of be like, "You'll be fine. Just go do whatever."
Yep.
He should have been like, "You know what? We're like brothers now. Like I was your teacher. We're like brothers now. You know what? Why don't you just come with me? Like I get it. I get it. They're being it's not right that they're not letting you like on the council or calling you master. It's wrong. Let's you and I prove them. Let's you and I prove them wrong. You come with me, and we can do these." And I understand that they were spread out thin, the Jedi, so maybe they were doing this and that, but Obi-Wan should have been paying attention more, right? This was the
It's the
chosen one.
I think it's the Grievous thing when they send Obi-Wan out to go get Grievous,
Yes.
because that's their last interaction, and it always makes me so sad because
Mhm.
like, they have that moment. It's their last moment really as friends. Um, and
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's going off to go get Grievous, and he's all cocky and whatever, and like, yeah, I've got this. Like, they've been chasing Grievous for years, and like they finally have him, pinned
Mhm.
down, and he's gonna go go take care of business and he'll be right back. But he knows that what he's leaving Anakin behind, he knows the mess he's leaving Anakin behind it because he's already been told that the
Yeah.
council wants him to spy on Palpatine and all that kind of stuff. So he knows what he's leaving Anakin back in, but he's kind of like, I'll just go deal with this one last situation and then I'll come back. But he never gets to come back to that. You know what I mean? Because it all falls apart while he's out with Grievous.
Mhm.
And so like when he comes back, that's when he sees the hologram of like what happens and the whole thing. And then the whole like the interaction he has with Yoda, they're like, don't make me kill him. Like, don't make me do this. Like he
Right.
asks him like begs him like, because the last time he saw Anakin, that was their interaction. It was like, oh, I'll just go take care of this
Mhm.
thing. It's a really crummy situation that you're in, but I'll be right back, kind of thing. And so I think he did have some guilt, or that his character, whatever, has some guilt there
Right.
about that situation. But yeah, I think that it's so heartbreaking to watch. But it's even more heartbreaking to watch if you watch the Clone Wars, because then you know how much love they had for each other and everything that they've been through.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes me even more angry with the fact that later on Luke comes around and Ben and Yoda are just trying to focus him on killing Vader, kill Vader, kill
Yeah.
Vader. And they always, in recent times, now that I've had all these revelations and stuff, they seem like bitter, failed generals who are like one thing. And then when he finds out, they're like that Vader is his father, which is Anakin. They seem kind of put out by that. Like, well, you still have to do it. And when he says he can't, they're like, well, that's it. We lost. It's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It seems like, and it
They
was
don't.
Luke again who chooses the right decision, right?
Yep, they just see Luke as a weapon, like as a tool. They don't see him as a person, that kind of thing. So that's kind of
Which they're
the.
still kind of strayed, right? They're still like
Yep.
political now. Luke is a weapon. He's the last weapon that they have.
Yep. Exactly.
So
So yeah, I think you're right about that. But
human failures, I guess.
I guess so. But anyway, so this
Sorry,
episode 5, back to Ahsoka.
there's so much to
Episode
talk.
5.
He's such
I
a great
know there's so much to
character.
talk about. No, it was really I really enjoyed, all of the Hayden Christensen stuff, all the prequel stuff, all the Ahsoka stuff, all of it. I mean, just all of it was really great. I'm sure more things happened than Hayden Christensen that I
Yeah,
can't
there was a
recall
few
them.
things. I have some pictures. I guess I'll just show that. So
Yeah, we can go through that.
I kind of love the scene with
Oh,
Hu Yang.
yeah, it was
Kind
so
of
sad.
very very sad. And then
Oh, there was a whole Jason
Jason
feeling,
thing.
yeah, hearing the
He actually
waves and all that kind
hears
of stuff. Yep.
he hears her wherever she is, like the lightsaber, and then he gets his mom to
He
Hera.
hears her on her astral plane or whatever it is, wherever
Yeah,
her body
and then
is.
he helps Hera hear what
Yep.
he's hearing and stuff. And I feel so sad because he seems kind of like he should be being taught. He seems very powerful.
Yeah,
Well, he's got
he should be
potential.
the Padawan or something like that. Yeah,
Exactly, he
they were
should be.
almost like they were almost alluding to that like he should be Ahsoka's Padawan or something. I thought
Right.
there was like something where they were gonna like ask Ahsoka to take him or
Yeah.
something. I'm not sure.
And that's what it should be. I think what it might come down to is that um this is a guess. Maybe Sabine won't, like, she'll be like, okay, I know how to use the lightsaber. I don't have the force. And maybe Jason will be brought on. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know
I just
either.
think that it would be very cool to see him getting trained.
Yeah.
I
I
noticed,
liked the thing
yeah.
with the whales at the end too. That was
Oh,
cool.
yes, this guy here
Yeah.
looked funny. And they looked very, very cool.
They did.
I noticed, here's one
Big
thing
whales.
I've just noticed with Hera and Jason and stuff. In the 2 episodes we've seen them together, I just know when my kids were around, especially, I mean, now they're teenagers, so I can't get within 10 feet of them.
Oh,
It's very sad. It's very sad. I'm not handling it well, but my
I'm
wife told me to
sorry.
just suck it up. But
They'll come back
um,
around.
when they were young, right, I would be like, I was always like hugging and this and that, and there was always like no matter what, I didn't care who was around. I was just like, so, I mean, I still am I'm just dork dad unless they need something. But I don't find that Hera, they're just not writing where she's very, very motherly. It seems like she's just like, I she seems to talk to him like a coworker. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like a general.
Like when he came
Yeah.
up that first episode, like, hey mom, is that like a Jedi, or can I learn to be a Jedi? She could have brushed through his head, like, oh kid, and
Yeah.
we'll talk, just get the ship ready. And whenever he comes up, like the first thing I would do was just grab him and stuff like that, because she could be general when she's around soldiers, but she's around her friends, right? If
Yeah.
she's trying to kind of be the leader. And I don't think, and maybe it'll come out, like Hera was never into bureaucracy and all this kind of crap. She just did her own thing because they were like those rebels, right? They just
Yeah,
did
they
their
were the
own thing.
rebels. Yeah.
And I think you could see she feels like she's being held back by the bureaucracy of the idiotic republic, who are like so blind to everything going on. And I think they might take her uh rank, they might
Of
take
course,
her
yeah.
her position. And I think it'd be the best thing if she would just, because then she could do whatever the hell she wants
Yep.
and not worry about anything. And you know what I mean? Because
Unless
it
they
seems
like
too
court
stiff,
martial her and then
right?
like try to throw her in jail or something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I hope they don't do that. I
Yeah.
think that Mothma would just kind of keep her from prison, but take her rank and kick her out, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I want to see her being nice to Jason more. It just seems weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that I mean that might just be because they're trying to write her as more of like a standoffish mom, not an affectionate mom or something like that. I don't know that
Mm,
they might just be maybe it's the trauma of losing Kanan or something. I don't know, maybe.
yeah, yeah.
No.
So, and it's cool. His little shoulder guard is the same one that Kanan
Yeah.
had.
Yeah,
All that
it's
kind of
really
stuff.
cute.
And the dashboard, I wish I had that. The cockpit of the Ghost. There's a little
Yeah.
picture of Kanan, but it really looks like Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I'll have to send
That's
it. I had the
cute.
picture here. I think I posted it somewhere. It looks so good. It's so
Oh,
good. And I
that's
can't wait for the
adorable.
behind the scenes on, like, when they get deep into episodes,
Yeah.
that I hope Filoni says, yeah, that's what I did. Like when he starts admitting, like when he starts saying, yes, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, you're right. Here's the actual photo and stuff like
That would be
that.
really
So,
cute.
right. And Sam Witwer, in a video I saw recently, he did say, yes, you
He's the
know,
guy that got um he was that masked fighter
he
guy,
wasn't the
correct?
mask guy, but he because you see his name in the credits that
Yeah.
he is in it,
Okay.
but he hasn't. But he wasn't that guy. It was a different actor. Or
Well, because
I think the guy was like a stuntman.
when that guy got unalived, whatever, um,
Yes.
I was like, "Oh no, Sam Witwer, is that
No,
you?"
I
I was
can't believe
so
they did
sad.
that to him. I thought they did him so bad. I'm like, come
I
on,
know. I was
that
like,
can't
"Wait,
be
at least
him.
let me see your face." Um,
Yes, I'm
but
sure a lot of people were saying the same thing.
aw.
Yeah. So this was and the Mandos.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was
Oh, so
yeah, he was
cool.
like, "I don't know this battle." Yeah.
And it looks like the Clone Wars. Yeah, it was
Yep.
so cool. Like the real or fake Anakin,
Yeah.
who knows, was just he was so good in that
Well, the
episode.
lightsaber color changes and stuff like that was so cool too, like seeing him go from the red to blue. Like, well, just seeing him fight with the blue one again, like that, like just
Yes. Yes. I could I I like the people that aren't being funny, that say, and he should get his own series. We should get a prequel or like a
unironically,
story.
I would watch an Anakin series so much
People are
so.
like, yeah, there's 3 of those movies and then a whole animation series about it. You go watch about what happens to
Well,
Anakin.
yeah, but like you could always have more.
I know. You know what? Live action Clone Wars would be awesome, but could you imagine the money?
Oh my
The
gosh, yeah.
money, it'd be so much money.
Yeah.
Bet you these little tiny scenes cost a fortune.
But you didn't have to CGI the clones.
No, that is true, right? You just call up what
So
the 501st guys.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure
which
that's them.
that armor, I have a friend who has it or had it. I don't know if he still has it, but it's really, really hard to put on. Like
Really?
my armor, like I snap in like, places, like it
Yeah,
goes on. Like that armor is such a pain. Like it's the solid pieces and stuff. Like mine like has some give to no, the clone stuff is
right.
a nightmare. But it looks
Really?
so cool.
It
Yeah.
looks really great. When I see, I swear to God, the 501st, do they make the clones at least be 6 feet or more tall? Like everyone I've seen wearing those are massive dudes. Some guys are like 6'4" or more. They're
I was
massive.
gonna
And I
say
always look at their feet.
no, I know one who is definitely not. He's my height, I think. So he's
Right.
like 5'5", 5'6", and he is a clone. So I
Oh,
mean, but he
yeah.
looks really cool in it. So
It just looks hard. Yeah, they look very cool in person. Like,
yeah,
the live action really makes them look very cool. Well, I mean,
yeah.
there was, I guess, live action sometimes in the prequels too, but very, very cool. So, final thoughts on episode 5.
It was awesome.
Awesome. Yes, that Anakin episode was awesome.
Yes, the Anakin episode.
It's just the whole thing. Yeah, people are still people. I've seen people talk about do watch parties for episode 6, and they're still talking about episode 5.
Well, I want
So,
to talk about episode 6 though, because I have things to say about episode 6.
all right, episode 6.
Okay,
What
moving
was it
on.
called? Far, far away. I thought
Spoilers
that was
for any. Yeah, I thought that was really cute. That was a nice little intro thing. That was like very well written. Like that. Well, I have a story. Far
the
away. That
story
was like
time. That was
that
very
was
cool.
cute. That was a neat little intro. Like
Hu Yang, he's
yeah.
so cool because in this scene too, she's like, I remember you telling us stories when we were kids. She was
Oh,
like he's so old, right? Isn't he like
yeah,
1,000 years or something?
something like that. I think
He's like very old. I think he was like, yeah, a millennia. Because you say something like, he's helped teach Jedi for a millennia or something like that.
which didn't we talk about that? He was in the like David Tennant voiced a robot or a droid in the Clone Wars episode
Yes.
that yeah, so like I think that is supposed to still be him or at least the same generation of robot or droid or whatever.
Yeah, it's the same one.
So
He's very. I think that's very cool. They've expanded a little bit on droids. Well, I mean, this was like Lucas's
yeah.
time as well, but I think he's a very cool. They've done his character so well where it's not too human or too cheesy. He feels
Not
like
too snarky either.
yes,
Sometimes the droids go a little snarky, which is fun because they're the comic relief, but he is not, and I like that.
yeah. I thought that L3 from the Solo was too much, and then I just don't like when they put too human to the droids, like in what was it? Was it Andor?
No, I
I think
like
it
the
was
Rogue
Andor.
One where it was what's his name? Ah,
Yes, the redhead
uh,
there,
yeah,
Alan Tudyk.
yes,
Yes,
that I can't remember his name. K2SO
Kate. Yes, that's
something
it.
like that. Yeah, from
He
Rogue One.
was
I
awesome.
loved it. He was hilarious. I liked him. That was great. Dry humor. That was a great
Dry
droid.
humor.
But
Yes,
yeah, sometimes it's too much. Yeah, but I thought I like this one. I think he's great.
yes, he's so
Um,
cool, and he's kind of wise, which is funny to say about a droid. Well, C3PO and R2D2 were kind of what you could say were wise experience, right? But
well, they were also like the comic relief for kids too, though. That was like
yes,
their, George Lucas said specifically, like they were the thing for kids, in the
oh,
movie.
definitely. And here's
Um,
another whale shot I thought was really nice.
yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at
Just really
that.
nice scenes. Anyways, so let's get into 6.
All right. So this one, um, so the so the whole the scene like right from the get-go with when they're standing up there and Sabine's in the cell and like trying to use the force and the walls start shaking,
Yes.
kind of thing. From that scene on, like I had a knot in my stomach. Like the music, like everything, like that sense of dread with Thrawn, like that
Mhm.
was so effective. Everything, like the tension that they build with the ship coming in and
Yes.
just
This thing.
swallowing the platform. Oh my gosh, that was
His
that was
ship looks amazing.
It was
Amazing.
incredible. That was just it was so unexpected because you're not sure what's coming. You think he's gonna show up. You don't think the entire like the Star Cruiser is gonna show up and swallow the platform that they're on. Like that is so intimidating. Like what an entrance.
And even the
And so
inside.
yeah, and so then like all of a sudden, yeah, you're inside, and then just the visualization of that, the way that these troopers are with the gold and the red and the way they're like ragtag, the wrapped like ribbons,
Yes.
things like that. Oh, it was beautifully done. And with the witches and oh, it was so cool. Like, but it was terrifying. Like it was that kind of like uneasy feeling, which some of it I think is that theme, that deep organ dirge theme that happens with his stuff. And like
Yes.
but it's just everything about it was really scary and cool.
Right. I mean, look at his gang there. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's very cool. Like you were saying, I'm just wondering next year at Fan Expo how many people are going to be dressed up like the stormtroopers here.
Well, that's why I'm wondering if I need to like make my armor
Oh
more
yeah.
dirty now and like wrap it with some stuff. Like, cause my kid's starting to get some scuffs and scratches and things like that on it. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just turn it into a sand trooper. But now I'm
Yes.
thinking
It's
maybe
all
I
canon
go,
now. It's canon.
this is canon.
It's
Maybe
canon.
I just become one of Thrawn's troopers and.
Can I point something out? When they get there to the planet to where the witches are and their little
Yes.
very, very cool. First thing I thought of was
Venus Tirith. I knew it. I knew that's what you were going to say.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? I wrote
The
it
White
so big in
City
my
of
notes.
Gondor. Yeah,
Like the
that's
platform,
funny.
everything. Look,
Yeah,
it's just so funny.
100%. Yeah.
Um,
You proud
you
of me
know,
that I knew that? Are you?
I am because normally Star Wars people hate the Lord of the Rings people and vice versa. And you know who's to blame for that?
Who's to
Kevin
blame for
Smith
that? Oh,
from that one from the second movie that he did, the Clerks.
Clerks 2?
They had that one scene where the guy
Oh,
is like
yeah.
explains why Lord of the Rings
Walking
sucks
to,
and
yeah. Oh,
yes.
I remember that scene. Ah,
So now that's the whole
whatever.
joke between the two. And I don't think yes, I am very impressed.
No,
So
I am a multi nerd.
yes, that's what I was doing years ago before the Star Wars site. I did a Lord of the Rings site, did some stuff there. I got to interview Richard Armitage, played Thorn
Yeah.
in New York
Yeah, yeah,
City.
yeah, yeah.
Very, very
I remember
cool.
you telling
So
about that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
anyways,
Yes.
that's what I thought of. I was just laughing, right? I thought, wait a minute. I mean, it wasn't intentional, or
Yeah.
it could be an homage, right? Because nerds are nerds.
It
So
could
the
be.
witches, these are very
That's true.
weird people, very
Mhm.
uneasy
The
feeling.
headdress thing's very much from Clone Wars. The Dathomir witches had like the weird pointed hats on in Clone Wars.
They look very cool. The ship behind there that Balin and Morgan and all that are coming off of, it really reminded me of the '80s Dune. Um,
Oh,
there,
okay,
there was a
yeah.
ship that they were flying through. I forgot to grab a picture, and I wanted to kind of do a side by side of them, but yeah. And you're
Yeah.
right. This whole scene when Thrawn is coming down and they're chanting Thrawn, Thrawn. It was a very
It's
eerie, weird
terrifying.
feeling because
Yeah.
they're not acting like normal stormtroopers. It's very, very strange.
No, and
And
the
some
way
people,
the way they're
yeah,
all like kind of like held together wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like something's up.
something's up. Because here's one of the theories I heard flying around is that just like Marok, that they could be zombies,
Yeah.
zombified somehow. Because it's been 10
Well,
years. It's been 10 years,
yeah.
right?
That would be in line with what the Dathomir witches are capable of, for sure, 100%.
Because
And
even at the end of the episode, Thrawn says something to them like, I'll need your dark magic one more time.
well, and if that's how
So,
he's like keeping himself alive, or if that's like how he like if he did something like that, the Dathomir witches have all sorts of weird stuff like that. I need to go back and watch those Clone Wars episodes, but that would make sense. And it would make sense why it's so eerie. But then also, I think original canon on the Rogue One Death Troopers, they were supposed to be dead. Like they were supposed to
Oh,
be
really?
like they were not supposed to have like the helmet was supposed to be like three quarters of a decapitated skull or something like that, where it was like it wasn't
Interesting.
actually supposed to have like a full head inside of a Death Trooper helmet. Like there was supposed to
Right.
be like implants in like the remaining part of the skull, and it was like mostly machine, not thing. It was like reanimated tissue or something like that, I think was the original canon for the
Interesting.
Death Trooper, but I think maybe they changed it at some point. But so it wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility to have like there was Zombie Trooper. Well, that's not canon anymore. There was a book. There was a Zombie Trooper book. Do you remember that? Um, but I think that's now in Legends or whatever.
Right. But I
Um,
mean, it's funny where people say it's not canon anymore, but they seem to dip in when it's convenient and start pulling out canon.
oh, there was a Clone Wars episode with zombies too. With
Yes.
the worm. They get the worm and it makes them into zombies. What planet were they on for that? They were on a planet and they get like this little like worm that goes in their ear and makes them all zombies. So like there are zombie troopers. It's not outside the realm of possibility to have
Right.
zombie troopers.
But it just because if you look at them and they're all kind of
Yeah.
like you were saying, all pieced together. A lot of the armor is looks like it was shattered and then glued back, or not glued, but put
Like
back
repaired
together.
with gold and stuff like that.
And it's like, so could some of the troopers been killed and they just use the dark magic, put them back
Like
together and get them back up?
that's
I,
because the red ribbon looks like they've been tied back together, that kind of
yes.
thing. That's what it looks like, that they were like exploded and then like tied back together almost, which
And it's like, how
um
do you fight? It's that kind of new enemy that Star Wars was looking for the sequels, and then ended up remaking Stormtroopers.
well, and I don't know, I mean, to like cross nerddoms too a little bit. I don't know if you are familiar at all with like any of the 40K stuff, like the tabletop gaming.
I
But
sort of know what they are, but yeah.
okay, so their appearance with like the gold and the red and the mask, especially of the Enoch guy, looks a lot like, to me anyway, the like Sisters of Battle
Oh,
army
okay.
or like 40K, like it like that visualization a little bit. I don't know. That kind of my limited understanding of some of the 40K stuff, but that's what it looks like to me a little bit.
It's interesting. I remember someone brought this up too about the meaning Enoch. Meaning is dedicated, trained, disciplined, trained. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
he's like the right hand man to.
But he's also like the one guy in the Bible that didn't die. He was the one
Yes,
guy in the Bible that got like yeeted up to heaven without dying. So
and he sounds different. I just think that there's going to be some. I think Filoni's going to be introducing a lot of darkness to the Star Wars universe. Like
I
they're
think you're right
coming
about that.
back.
Yeah.
They're coming back, and I have a prediction that um, Balin and Shin, who were in this episode, but Balin and Shin are not going to be going back on the ship with Thrawn
You
and the
think they're
witches
gonna?
because, well, first of all, I think I thought Thrawn had wanted Balin killed, right? Because he's like, no,
Yeah.
either way, he's still a Jedi, and he doesn't trust them. So even though he's not really acting like a Jedi, he wants them dead. And I think that if Balin lives, if he's not killed by Shin, he's going to come back somehow, make some kind of deal with Ahsoka, right? Because she's, showing up inside the whale, and I think that's how they're going to do it. If Balin doesn't get killed, because I noticed there's some weirdness between them, right? When
Yeah.
he's on this kind of like almost holy mission, at least in his head.
Yeah.
There's something that's drawing him somewhere there, and
Which,
it's
yeah,
weird.
that's interesting that you say that, like holy mission, because that also just made me think about, like Enoch is technically a biblical name, and Ahsoka arriving like in the belly of a whale, like the story
Right,
of Jonah. Like these
Jonah.
are all very like heavy, like biblical
They're
themes.
like really hitting on the nose, right? I find that
Yeah,
interesting.
me too.
Because Shin seemed to be like, oh, she wants the power, and she doesn't. She seems to be at odds with Morgan. Like she always had this this attitude or look at her like, why are we working with her? Like, she's not one of us, and blah blah blah. But then when he says, when he agrees with Thrawn, like, okay, he'll go out, they'll kill Sabine, and she's like, but you gave your promise. So why does she care? So it seems like she's disenchanted by Balin, because I don't think he's going to break his promise. I don't think he's going out there to kill her. I don't think he cares about that. I think he's going to ignore it and just say to Thrawn, because he thinks he's going to go back and go and get on the ship and go back with them. But little does he know, I think the sisters or like the witches and the Thrawn and his group are going to turn on them when if they come back. So maybe that's what will happen to Balin. But I had thought that Filoni had the two of them written into a second season, before before he
passed
died,
away.
before he died in real life. But they were integral, from what I understood, to the story, the two of them, especially Balin, which is very sad. That's why some people are like, recast them. And it's kind of like, but maybe they should. You know what I mean? Like,
honestly,
get another big, like, he's 6'3", right? Like, I hope
I mean, his face is mostly beard. You could
yes, I know. I could do that. We're the same height.
Yeah, right. Dye your beard white. You could be it.
I can't act. I'm not in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you've got the shoulders for it, Steve.
I would in a second. If Filoni called me up again, I turned him down before, but in a second, man, I would be, just to get that coin he gives to people for doing stuff. That coin?
Yeah.
I would do anything to get one of those. Not any, well, maybe anything. Just one time. So
anyway, back to the episode.
Anyways, we go from talking Bible to anyways. Yes, I think there's so much weirdness that's going to happen in the next couple of episodes.
Sure.
Because of Thrawn, there's going to be lots of betrayal, letdown. What did you think of? Sorry, people are talking about the shell Jawas.
Oh, the little like hermit crab people.
The little hermit crabs.
Oh, they were so cute.
They were. Do you know what I thought was very anticlimactic? Was when she found Ezra.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was just like, "Hey, give your promise." They're like, "Hey." It's like they just seen each other a week ago. Like, it wasn't like, and he's like, "So how'd you get here?" "I'll tell you later." It felt like one of those 80s sitcom where like, it's a long story. It's
like, that was a little anticlimactic.
Just say.
That was another thing that made me think of it. Like the scenes with her and the Hound.
Oh,
like,
yes.
I'm betting money that like whoever animated this Hound or whatever, like has a German Shepherd. Because like the mannerisms of that Hound, like I kid you not, I have a long-haired German Shepherd who can like recreate those scenes like shot for shot with his personality.
It was so nice. It was so well done.
Cute. It was, but it was like, it's just very much like even down like to the thing where she like tells him to lay down and like chill out while she's like trying to do something else and he like cannot. Like, I was like, that's a shepherd. That is 100% a shepherd.
It was very well done. I was glad they went that route instead of having it like beastly.
Yeah.
And it was more like a dog. So it was very, very cute. It was very well done. I just I was so happy because I was wondering how they were going to make him look, because in the in the hologram, he looked, young, and the way he did, obviously in the cartoon, it was 10 years. So I'm like, I hope he has like long Qui-Gon hair and a big beard and stuff. And I mean, he's pretty good. Like, I was really happy the way that they had him.
He looks like a young, like, Filoni's baby brother.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
That's like,
he looks great.
He does.
I had a thought. I wrote down, because, okay, he's been there without a lightsaber, right? Because as far as we know, that universe doesn't have kyber crystals and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's been practicing the Force. The little shelled guys had the little rebellion symbols, so he's been been preaching that. Who knows what else? And I wonder that universe with the magic. I wonder if he's incorporated because in the series in Rebels, he was very powerful in the Force. He was getting very powerful. He was especially good at talking to like animals and
Animals
whatnot.
and things, yeah.
And so maybe his lightsaber stuff wasn't like, I wouldn't rank him in the top 10, but he was strong in that kind of Force. And I wonder if, because he was in that universe, if he was captured and he escaped, like we don't know the story of how he got away. I wonder if he's incorporated some of that magic with the Force. Like, does he do stuff? So, and I had thought when Sabine was first going to see him, like when they finally got together, she'd be like, I have your lightsaber and stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah.
What you think of that? Like, did you think like,
I don't know. I didn't really have any expectations for that kind of stuff. I really wasn't sure what they were going to do. I wasn't really sure if he was still going to be a prisoner when they
right?
found out, like if they were going to meet in the jail cell. Like that wasn't I wasn't sure if they were going to, that
Mm,
way like he has been in captivity this entire time because I was like, well, how would that work if he's just been like wandering around a planet? That's kind of
right.
how would that ship not have found him? How would they, if they really wanted to find him, how would they not have found him? That seems silly, you know?
Well, yeah, it did seem weird where they're like, okay, here's your dog, run out and find him. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And then she goes out and like 20 minutes later, oh, there he is.
I mean, with all the firepower on that ship, they could have just like absolutely destroyed the surface for like however many hundreds of square miles,
Yeah.
and just been like, yep, and there we're done. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like I don't know.
I don't know. And the thousands of stormtroopers that are on that ship, do you think they couldn't have just put out groups of
Yeah.
hundreds and just scoured that planet? Because it pretty much looked like the planet, one of the planets in Andor. It was just like rocky, flat grass, like
Uh-huh.
somewhere in like Irish land somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it'd be very easy to find him. Like, I think they tried to say the little shell people, the crab people, they move around a lot, but it's like
Yeah.
they don't go underground and move around. They're walking around with their little shell campers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe it's too small for like sensors to pick up or something like that. But even
Sure,
still,
sure.
like it just seemed kind of silly that like if they really wanted him dead or if they really wanted him found, I feel like they could have. I don't know.
Right. Or the
It's not,
witches would have found him, right?
or the witches would have found him, or yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seemed kind of like for 10 years that you were like the only human on this entire planet.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I know.
yeah.
And he must it was suggested too that, if the witches couldn't find them, did he close himself off from the force?
Yeah,
Right?
that's true too.
Because they
Well,
would
I
sense
think the
that
magic that they use isn't part of the force. It's something else. Like it's like
but it's scary and powerful because Palpatine was afraid of them,
it's
right?
yeah, it's like voodoo. It's like
Right.
the so I guess you could like compare it to like I'm trying to think of like um I don't know what you would kind of compare it to, but it's basically like it pulls from a deeper, darker place. Like
Mhm.
it's not the Jedi pull from like the circle of life and death and all that, just the just everything kind of thing, and they pull
Right.
from like a corrupt, evil place or something. That kind of, it's not a
Right.
place that the Jedi touches power from or something.
I wasn't familiar with the whole magic that was introduced in what was it? It was Legends,
Yeah, I think so.
with these. I in watching the Ewoks cartoon back in the day, it was before your time. Um and like Logray, right? He used magic in the show and all this kind of stuff. And they had this one little, it was this like glass thing with a crystal in it, and it was a very powerful thing that he would use. And in one episode, there was two parts to this crystal. This bad wizard lady had one, and then Logray had one, and eventually Logray got both of them together and had this powerful gem. And I always thought they never elaborated on it, but what if that was like a kyber crystal, and that was the magic was the Force, but they called it magic. But what if the Ewoks were using magic that wasn't dark? You know what I mean? Like, now
Yeah.
that they've introduced it, but I always thought it was just a Force, and they had a kyber crystal. They were using, some of the Ewoks could use the had magic because they could use the Force, but they didn't call it that, which is very
I don't know.
interesting.
I'm sure the information is out there. I'm kind of just spitballing when I say like that they're pulling from a dark evil place. I don't really know, but that's what I understood it to be. But like, it's been a really long time since I've watched those episodes, so it's worth probably going back and watching some of the, doing a little bit more research on it.
Right.
I don't.
So what do you think is going to happen? Like, where do you think they're going with this?
Well, I think it's definitely going to be something like evil, dark, big, because like if it was just Thrawn showing back up with a battalion, like who really
Yeah,
cares, right? Like that's not. I mean,
it's
it's
not a big
scary
deal.
because it's Thrawn, but like meh. But if it's
Yeah.
Thrawn showing up with a freaking like, zombie battalion with a whole like dark, like scary something behind it, because
Mhm.
they're loading something on his ship, right? They're like loading something from the catacombs or whatever she said. Like
Yeah,
that's
this
scary.
stuff
Something
here,
scary is happening. Yeah.
I had that listed as
What
what's
is it?
this?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing. So, like, that something big and creepy and scary is happening. And it's not just he's going to show back up and like unite all of the things. Like, he's going to show back up and try to like enslave people's minds or something, you know?
Right, right. It won't be just like the conscription would be way different.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it's
know what I
not
mean?
just like, "Hey, I'm here to save the day and unite all the troops." It's here, "I'm here to like eat your souls" or something. Like it's
Right.
not like
And
it's gonna be
yeah, and
something
if you
scary.
die, oh well, these guys will
Yeah,
just bring you back and you'll become weirder.
exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be, which actually, if we're talking about um the sequels, then
Yes.
with everything with Palpatine and his clones and his like reanimation of dead things or
Right.
whatever and stuff like that, it would make sense if something that he's bringing back from
Right.
there is something maybe that um I don't know. How do we tie that together then?
We could.
You know what I mean? Like if it's something that's going to end up tying together with um what the emperor did. You know what I mean? Like if it's something that ends up being useful to him, like if that's the end like Thrawn obviously doesn't win, right? Obviously Thrawn, we know the story or whatever. But what if what he brings there ends up getting taken to use, because right
Right.
now that's we know that's what's happening with Palpatine's things,
Right.
in the story. So
Yeah.
what if
Oh,
he's successful in that, in getting that into this galaxy, but he doesn't succeed with his like raising of the army, but what if he's successful with whatever creepy goo voodoo he brings back to this galaxy helps Palpatine?
yeah.
I
What
don't
could
know.
be
I'm making things
cooler
up.
is if, because this story seems way better than the sequels, that they somehow, with the World Between Worlds,
They just erase the sequels and give you a Thrawn story.
some kind of, when Thrawn comes back, it does I'm thinking of Back to the Future, it does some kind of a weird time warp mechanism thing that screws everything up, and then he changes time because of it and comes into the galaxy, and then um everyone else has to get involved. I mean, I think Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill sold their likenesses to Disney, so there you go.
There you go.
Um, and then they
Todd would
could
be on
kind
board with that. I
of,
know Todd would be 100% on board with that if it meant undoing Ryan Johnson's.
and there was no, and somehow Palpatine returned because it's Thrawn that returns, and it's going to be like a
We just need
really
like an eraser, like
cool-
just erase the CGI of Palpatine and just put like it's
that's what Dynamite's
Thrawn.
for. It's I would be good, but he's not cloned. He's just like dark magic alive, and he's just smart and you know knows what he's doing, and his troopers aren't missing everything, and You know what I mean? Because they're
Yeah.
not just normal conscription. Yeah, that would be so good.
That would be a really good story.
I wish Disney had money though to do all that. Oh,
Oh,
but they'll
man,
yeah,
that would be
give it a
really
couple
cool.
years. Give it a couple of years. Maybe they'll do that. Depending on Filoni's movie now too, right? Or Filoni and Favreau with the Mandalorian movie, how they're supposed to tie it all together, like the
What?
Mandoverse. Yeah, I mean,
First movie?
right. So they're tying in the universe all together, and then it rips something in the time because Marvel's already done that.
Yep.
The multiverse.
So you just need
Oh
them to
man,
rip a hole in the timeline and put your movie in there instead.
yeah, we should. But I thought he was the last Jedi. What? There's no such thing as that.
There's never been a Last Jedi.
What are you talking about? Luke Skywalker's where? Drinking green milk from a cow boob? What? No. Are you nuts? He's right over there with all those students looking happy.
Braiding Kylo Ren's hair, you know.
Yeah, he looks fine. It's like Kylo had a tantrum, but he didn't kill him. He was like, yeah, he saw the good in him. Anyways,
Anyways,
it would be it'd be very interesting. There'd be so much potential if they did this
yeah.
10 years ago. Like they were so dead set on we're going to do our own thing because we want to pay
Yeah.
residuals to all the authors that made awesome stories that everyone loved.
Well, remember everyone was like, Heir to the Empire, Heir to the Empire. That's
That
like
was it.
everyone, the entire internet was screaming for an Heir to the Empire movie. And then and they were like,
How simple.
no.
How simple. Everyone, you have all the people there. All the new people are going to come in anyways because of all the hype.
Yeah, I know.
And then you just like, because Hollywood's lazy. Nowadays they're lazy. There you go. There's your lazy. There's a book right there. You got to pay. I just think they didn't want to pay Lucas and the other people for all this stuff.
It's a Timothy Zahn book, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they just didn't want to pay the money.
They were like, you know what? What if we did this exact story, but we called it something else? You know,
which is what they're doing now.
I know.
It's like it's Heir to the Empire with season 5 of the Rebels
with zombies, maybe.
It's so cool. You know, I think they're a little late on the zombie craze, but it'll work, right? It's space zombies. It'll bring it back. I think that would have been the future there, right? Because then people wouldn't groan like, oh look, they brought back stormtroopers, because these aren't really stormtroopers. They're like messed up stormtroopers.
Right.
And it's Thrawn. All these characters is written there.
Yep.
Like 400 books or something. Like there's so much. Anyways.
Yeah.
That's that. That was a decade ago. But hey, you never know. Maybe. Who knows? You know? Some people can't be there forever, and some people will just go, look, whatever's going to make us money, we'll just do it. Just do it. Anyways. Yes. I'm liking where this is going.
Yeah, me too.
It scared me for the first couple of episodes. Episode 1 and 2, I was like, huh. Like, I'm okay with, because I watched Rebels, I'm okay with this because I'm invested nerd in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I can understand why the viewership was so low, right? Because the normies and the casuals are like Andor was creamed because normies and casuals aren't pointing at all of the Easter eggs and cookies and everything, right? But I don't know. They pulled it together, and I'm happy. I'm happy that he did. I was so worried for Dave for a bit. I was very worried because this is the only job I think he's ever known.
Yeah.
He can't get fired from Lucasfilm because what's he going to do? Like, but anyways, I'm sure I'm sure he's not. I would never think that, but man, he had a lot of pressure on him.
He's awesome. All
yes.
hail Dave Filoni.
Oh wait, I forgot to bring this up. Thank the makers that have.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I like. So we'll see where that goes, but I'm really impressed. I'm still man crushing on Anakin. I like the weird, creepy feeling that Thrawn and these weird stormtroopers have given me. Yep. Because before it was like, oh, they're stormtroopers. That's kind of cool. But now I'm like, ugh. what the hell are these guys? Like, what's going
Yeah.
on? Ooh. And Thrawn seems odd. Like, I knew the character was
Did,
kind of like whatever, but he's odd.
did he look like Elon Musk to you? Because I was like, I didn't want to think that. Like,
I can't unsee it now. Yes,
I'm so sorry, but yes, like the
it's
first scene, I
true.
was like, is it a joke? Wait, what? Yeah, and then I was like, oh no, it's not. Like,
Because when they first announced that Thrawn was going to be in the series, someone
yeah.
made a photo. And it
Yeah,
looks so
I know,
good.
and that's kind of like my brain. I was like,
Yeah,
is it a joke? Like, I'm watching the episode. Like,
I think they kind of act the same. Like, I mean, it's kind of like, right? Evil genius, evil genius. Well, I guess he's not a. I guess Thrawn's not evil. I guess he
Elon
is what he
doesn't
is.
have
But
a zombie army that I know of. So, let's
give him time.
yeah. Well, I guess
Give him
there's
time.
Twitter.
All the
Sorry.
Tesla owners, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Yeah, Twitter. Yeah, X. Yes,
Oh, that's right. It's X now.
X. X. I think that's all
Yeah.
funny. But yes, I'm really liking this. I'm gonna be. I'm so invested in Balin and
Yeah.
Shin. She's the other one that has solid fencing. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if she had training before, but if she didn't, she really picked it up well, because I was like, oh, they got a martial artist to come in and do this, but she's not. She's just an actor.
Oh, okay.
So her and Anakin, sorry, her and Hayden Christensen are the two best. And I liked Balin's style of fighting too, but he was more just like, smashing his lightsaber into and using the his brute force, which someone had pointed out, the Jedi could make their lightsabers do different things. Like, they can make them longer, shorter, heavier. And when he was fighting her, that's what they had thought. He had made his lightsaber, like, the blade was heavy. So when he was hitting, I mean, he's a big man, but when he was hitting her, it was really sending her flying, because he was
Oh.
the lightsaber as well was powerful, but he was, and we found out in this episode, I forgot to say, Thrawn points out, calls him General Balin.
Oh, he does call him General Balin.
Right.
Yeah.
And he did say that he knew Anakin, like everyone did, and fought with him. So he must have been.
Oh, he tells his Padawan, I was older than you, not much older than you, or whatever.
Yes.
When the temple. So he was like past Padawan age, like he had been made a general or whatever.
Yes. So he was fighting. Yeah. So he has some experience, like, it's good. Anyways. So final thought on episodes 5 and 6. Like, I hate doing that out of 10 thing, but
I'm not good at the number system, because
you don't have to do the number.
Like, it's anything related to the prequels. I'm like, yes, excellent, amazing, more. Like,
let's just say I am like Ewok happy.
Oh, good.
Like, this is really good Star Wars, right? It's not let's try something, overly different or new, so it makes it very different. It's just like, this feels like George Lucas was whispering in the background, you know what I mean? So, although I don't know if he'd be into the zombies, but everything else was very cool. I hope they're zombies.
I know, now I do too.
They need to be zombies. So if they're not, it'll be like, so they're just weirdos. Like, so anyways, well, that was great. Maybe we'll have the rest of the gang next time. They won't be so sorry, I'm trying to find.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're all busy with their, actual non-Star Wars related activities. Like,
what is that all about? Who does
right?
anything outside of Star Wars?
I know.
Dorks. Meanwhile, you're just talking about your armor, and I have all this crap behind me. Well, I hate doing it with having Adam on the show, because he's got like diplomas, degrees, and like educational books behind them. Dork. Anyways, thanks for everyone that tuned in to watch or is watching this later. Be sure you can check us out live. You can chat and say mean things to us in the chat.
Not mean. No.
you can totally debate.
You can say mean things to Steve.
I'm okay with that. I'm married. I'm used to that. You could totally abuse me. It just bounces off. So, but until then, may force be with you. No, I think that people should be mean to Jen.